With respect to the California Consumer Privacy Act of 2018, the most important thing that companies should focus on right now is the decision whether they will engage in selling of personal information as this is defined in the law. The definition is very counterintuitive to many companies. The first reaction is, we don't sell personal information. But if they closer review of the situation usually results in a finding that there are a lot of data sharing arrangements that meet the definition, and companies in most spaces can actually opt to stop selling personal information the way this is defined, if that's what they choose to do. And they should have that discussion now and think about where the California Consumer Privacy Act will take them if they either continue on the current path or they make changes so that they're not engaged in selling. If they continue to do what they're doing now, they will have to put a prominent link on every web and mobile page where California residents can access data and by necessity leave some personal information, snippets, IP addresses, and other things that are just required to respond to a query. And this link will have to say the words, "Do not sell my personal information," and it has to be conspicuous and visible, and it will be utterly confusing and very irritating to people in other states and other countries where they're not familiar with the history of this law and where they're thinking selling means you give my named user information, that's what they think about personal information, for cash payments or other transactions like this. What the statute covers as well, but the statute covers much more. It even covers exchanges with service providers if they're not restricted to the letter of this law. So if the company puts that link up there and they get opt-outs after January 1, 2020, then they will have to cut off the sharing with any company where they didn't qualify the relationship as not involving selling. And they will not be allowed to discriminate against the user who opted out, so they will have to continue to provide the service. Most companies have extended enterprises with a whole suite of software as a service providers, and if they start getting opt-outs that they cannot use certain systems anymore, they would have to rebuild on-premise systems or other things that would be quite difficult to create. So companies should think about that. They should think about that if somebody has opted out, they cannot prompt them for an opt-in with the next 12 months. Most companies with different landing pages cannot really control whether there are prompts to opt in certain things with a different set of privacy terms that easily, because they would have to identify people and see that somebody's already opted out. And there would be a lot of different systems to have to be built if the company says we will continue to do whatever we're doing now and doesn't eliminate the selling. On the other hand, if the company does eliminate the selling, it will be quite painful in some areas where right now the whole ecosystem involves sharing of information for the benefit of their customers, and that are not ready to support their customers without sharing arrangements that could still qualify as selling of personal information. So I'm not saying that is necessarily the easier way, but it does avoid that ugly link on every page and mobile page and website that would be definitely have a negative brand impact on companies. So that's the big decision that companies should do right now if they haven't already done it.